Welcome all. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed on the daily. We can still get down to this 100 fib here. We do have a lower low here. So if we go down onto the lower time frame, I'm still looking for a flat. Like I've been going over for weeks now. We got like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We can get either 3 or 5 up in here before we get more downside after these 5 down. We are starting to get bullish divergence in here too. So I would be more interested in a buy just for that C up, but there is no setups. If we go down to the H1, we have a possible bear hidden here. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a lower low here. But if we do get a lower low here, and then a nice impulse up, a correction, well, then I'd be looking for that C up. AU on the daily, again, nothing's changed on the daily. We're looking for this C up, possibly up to this 100 fib. It's getting very difficult on the lower time frames, though. We're getting all this bearish divergence, and we're sort of in a rising wedge here. Again, on the H1, we got all this bearish divergence. So, like I said last week, it's very difficult to trade until we get a larger correction. So, that may look like something like an A. All this is a B, and we get a C down here. I'd really like to see these lows broken over here in an expanding flat or something, and then give us a buy setup to buy, to give us that risk reward. To be buying up here with all this bearish divergence, just not something I would consider doing. GU on the daily, again, nothing's changed on the daily time frames. I'm looking for a little bit more upside, possibly up to that 100 fib, or even up to the 161.8. I don't know how far this is going to go yet, but on the lower time frames, I'm looking for a larger correction before I can buy into this. We do have 5 up in here, sharp move down, and we sort of got 3 up in here. So I'm looking for that flat, some sort of a flat in here. I need this C down and then a buy setup before I could attempt to buy. Again, we got bearish divergence on the H4. H1 is the same as well. We're getting all the bearish divergence. So, there's really not much you can do. We sort of did have a flat here, and that did go and break the top. Now we've got a bearish candle set up in here. I would be looking for a sell. And really, on the M15, if we're looking at it, we got a nice impulse down, impulse up. So we may have an expanding flat in here. So if you do get a bearish setup in here, you could look for at least 3 down, like an A, B, and a C down. I'd be more interested in the sell, but again, you have to go down to the lower time frames and look for a sell setup in here against this top. If you're looking at that expanding flat, this one here. EU on the daily time frame, nothing's changed. We can get up to this 100 fib here. This one was the better one, to trade. We did have the 5 up correction, and this is quite choppy, breaking the top here. So again, we may get a flat here, a running or expanding flat here, and then we get another 5 up for like 5, 3, 5. So really, again, I need this C down and a buy set up on the lower time frames before I could attempt to buy this. H1, there is like a bull hidden in here. So, this one may go and give us a higher high. And then I dare say we'll get bearish divergence starting to form. And after that, if we got a nice impulse down, a bearish correction, well, I'd be more interested in the sell for that C down that I was just mentioning. NU on the daily, nothing's changed either. I'm looking for that C up to the 100 fib. H4, again, this is quite choppy, and we already have that bearish divergence. Like I mentioned last week, we broke it over here. So I'm sort of looking for 1, 2, 3, sort of 1, 2, 3, and 3 or 5 down in here for some sort of a complex correction. And then if I've got a buy set up, I could look for a buy. But until this happens, until I get a C down, I'm pretty much staying out of it. With all that bearish divergence, it's just too risky to enter the market, in my opinion, at this stage. The H1, we already have like 1, 2, 3 down in here. You may get a buy set up in here. If I just go down to the lower time frames, it's extremely risky with all that bearish divergence. It's really risky, but it's this looks like an A, B, and a C here, a flat. So if you got a bearish setup in here, you could look for a bearish setup, and I'd be more interested in a bearish setup than bullish up at these tops with all that bearish divergence present. GY, looking for that A, B, C, possibly up to this 100 fib before we get a larger A, B, C. Looks like we're getting a larger correction here. Some sort of an A, B, C. We're looking at that as a contracting flat last week, I believe. I don't think these tops have been broken here yet. Looks like a double top up here. Again, it's more bullish still, going with the trend. The trend's still upside, but yeah, it makes it difficult to trade. It's mainly just a scalp, if I went down to the M15, you'd see it a little bit better. Excuse me. But we sort of have an impulse up in here. If we got some sort of an A, a B, and a C in here, and then go down onto the lower time frames and get a buy set up, well, you could look for like 1, 2, 3, just to break those tops. Really, again, it's really just scalping, but you may get a nice setup in here to scalp. And if you're lucky, it gets up to that 100 fib on the daily. That'd be your ultimate target. But yeah, need a nice setup in here to buy. UY on the daily, like I've been mentioning over the last quite a few weeks, this low here hasn't been broken, so I'm pretty much staying out of this altogether because we don't have an A, a B, and a C in here. This low here hadn't been broken over here, so I'm pretty much staying out of this altogether. we sort of have like 1, 2, 3, impulse, impulse. This is looking like the choppiest wave in here. So we may get some sort of A, B, C in here, and then an A, B, C, A, B, C, giving us 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you get 3 or 5 up in here for a complex correction before you get more downside. So again, there's really not much. It's scalping, and like I mentioned on the daily, because that low hasn't been broken, this low over here hadn't been broken, I'd be pretty much staying out of it. Unless you just wanted to scalp on the lower time frames, but yeah. USD CAD, like I've been mentioning for well over a month now, I'm waiting for this time factor, and I would be waiting for that time factor because this is getting lower and lower here. And this wave 4 is gone into the territory of wave 2, like I've gone over many times in the past. So pretty much staying out of this altogether too. If this low here does get broken in this wave down here, well then if we get a nice correction in here, we could look for a sell. Until this low is broken, it's quite risky, because this still can be a wave 4. This can still be a wave 4 in here, and we get a wave 5 up, and this is some sort of an ending diagonal, you know. So yeah. But again, there's really not much to do on this at all. We are getting the bullish divergence, but there is no buy setup. And once we start to get that bullish divergence, it's very risky to, sell at a low. So again, there's nothing really to do here unless we get like a nice impulse up, breaking this top here, and then a correction. Well, then you could look for a buy. Until this happened, you're pretty much staying out of the market. Well, me personally, I'd be staying out of the market. The Swissy on the daily, nothing's changed either. We can get down to this 100 fib. Like many of the others, I'm looking for a complex correction. We sort of have like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So do we get 3 or 5 up in here? Well, that's what I'm looking for. Some sort of a complex correction before we get more downside, possibly down to that 100 fib. But again, don't think this one hasn't actually broken the low, but it's getting very close to it. There's really not much to do here either. There was, this in here was looking bearish, very risky, especially with this and this. This can be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, and then you get like an A, a B, and a C flat before you get an A, B, C. It's messy. There is no real nice setup on it, and I dare say on the lower time frames it's very much bearish. On the M15, for example, we have a bear hidden in here. This is looking rather bearish in here. You could look for a scalp just to break the low, and then you'd have to be careful because this may just be an A, B, C in here, give you another one up, and then give you a setup to sell to go and break the low. So again, it's it's really just scalping. EG, looking for that 5th wave up, like I've been mentioning. This 1, 2, 3, 4, we have bull hidden in here. We're looking for that 5th wave up. I think it's too late to get in on it, if you're not already on it, because this was just set up in here on the lower time frames. There was a bullish setup in here. It was quite risky, but yep, sort of had a flat in here with a very slow start. So we sort of got like 1, 2, 3. You wait for this wave 4. If you got a bull hidden in here, well, then you could look for a wave 5 up. Again, This is probably one of the better setups, this EG, but you really had to get in down here somewhere, after this nice impulse here. After this bullish divergence, we got a nice impulse, 3 up breaking the top, and so really this was where you needed to get in. If you did get into this one, I'd be holding it and waiting to add to your position. If we get a bull hidden in here, I'd be looking to add to your position, getting out of half, of course, and then getting into another trade. WTI, looking at this A, B, C, I was sort of thinking we may get another one down in here before it goes, but there was an opportunity on this one also to get in, and it's very much going now. We can see how sharp this is, so I'm looking at this wave C up in here. Excuse me, on the daily time frame. There was a possible wave 5 in here, like I've been mentioning. I was looking at that 1, 2, 3, get a wave 4 and a possible wave 5 down. Well, that's definitely not going to happen now because the ending point of this wave 2 has been broken. So definitely not going to get a wave 5 down. This is where you needed to get in on this correction here, for the buy. Again, if you're not in this, you really have to wait for like a correction in here with a bull hidden, and then you could look for a wave 5 up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't be looking to get in up here. I'd be waiting for this wave 4. Yep. Not much to see here either. You'd really need a correction in here, giving you a bull hidden on the H1 as well, before I'd be looking for a buy setup to buy to go and break this top. Gold. Excuse me. Look, like I've been saying for weeks now, I'm waiting for this time factor here. I really need this time factor because we need a wave 4 before you can trade a wave 5 up, and we haven't got that yet on the daily. The H4 has been like I've been looking at for a long time. Like many of the others, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then possibly 3 or 5 down in here for a complex correction before I look for a buy. Could have brought this in here for that C up, and if you're lucky, it goes for you. But yeah, you're either on it or you're not at this stage. Overall, we're getting bearish divergence too between the tops. So yeah, really not much to do on this either, unless you're already on it, which is quite risky in here because this was looking rather bearish in here. So, but it did actually go. So if you got on the right side of it, yeah, I'd be keeping it until you start to see a sell set up, and then I'd be getting out of it. Silver, this is pretty much played out. We had the 5 up, like 1, 2, 3, 3, and impulse down. This was your buys in here to buy to go and break the top. It's done that now. So again, there's nothing to do up here. In the room, we're looking for 1, 2, 3, a wave 4, waiting for this time factor here, and then we'll look for a wave 5 up, just scalping, breaking the top. So, yeah, it's really just scalping, waiting for this time factor, and then if you get a buy set up, you could look for a buy. Bitcoin, really nothing to do on this either. We got 5 up, larger correction, and it's already gone up and broken that top. We did get the 5 down in here, looking for that 5th wave down. We got a nice impulse up. And in the room, we were looking for a buy in here, but it's become very deep. If I just go down to the H1. Like we did get a nice impulse up, but this has come straight back down. So because we didn't get a correction, to buy, pretty much have to stay out of this one too. It's more bearish. Sort of like 1, 2, 3, wave 4 in here, and a wave 5 down. If I just go down to the M30, you'll see what I'm talking about. We sort of got like 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a bear hidden in here. So you could look for a 5th wave down, selling to break that low. I'd be targeting the 161.8, but yeah, inverse fib. If I just show you that, like this here, inverse fib of this. So this is the 161.8, and you can also target the 123.6 as your first target, which I haven't put on there, but yeah. S&P 500, we got the 5 up, got an A, a B, and a C, expanding flat in here. We've come straight up in here. So again, I'm waiting for a nice correction, like I have been saying for a while. We're waiting for this correction. We sort of do have like 1, 2, 3, maybe getting an A, B. We get a C down in here as a flat, and then we could look for more upside. But again, until I see a nice impulse down and then a bullish setup, I'm pretty much staying out of it. We have all this bearish divergence, so there's nothing to do up the top here. It's very risky to buy, and there really isn't a sell setup. There was a flat on this in the room there I was going over, but it's on the lower time frames. We got a flat in here for an A, B, C. That's already played out, and in fact, we may even. No, we don't have a bear hidden in there, but yeah, I think no, there's no bear hidden. I mean, you could look for a scalp sell. You know, you've got on the lower time frames, you've got an impulse down in here. So if you've got a sell set up in here, you could look to sell to go and break that low. It's really just scalping, but yeah, it's more bearish, in my opinion, on the lower time frames anyway. AU 200, it hasn't quite broken the top yet, but I've gone over this on the higher time frame. We're looking at that A, B, C in here to go up and break the top. It's just about done that. So again, like many of the others, I'm waiting for a larger correction. We've got to move up. I need a nice correction before I can look for a buy. And if you're looking for the sell, well, more than likely it's going to be choppy. So it's really just scalping the sell too. So I don't think there is a sell set up on this one. We were looking at S&P 500. But yeah, you got to be very careful here as well. I don't know, I thought we may have had a bull hidden in there, but we don't. But yeah, I mean, yeah, really not much to do up here. And it's going to be very difficult to sell into something like this. You know, you can see how choppy it is. You get into a sell and comes back, takes you out. Get into the sell, comes back, takes you out. So yeah, it's quite difficult trading at this stage till we get that larger correction. The FTSE, this one's nearly broken the top two. I dare say if this top does get broken on the daily, you know, we'll start to get bearish divergence. So that'll be a good sign for a sell, but that hadn't happened yet. Again, on the H4, I wouldn't be buying into this. We have all the bearish divergence. So, you know, there's really not much to do here. I'd be looking for a sell. But again, like AU200, there's really no nice sell on it. H1, we got all this bearish divergence. So I've been saying over the weeks, you know, I'd be leaving it alone. And I'd be looking for a nice sell setup. So if you do get a sell setup, you could look for it. I think there might have been one on this actually. Yeah. This is pretty much textbook what I teach in the group. We got a nice impulse down in here, sloppy correction, and it's just about gone and broken that low. So you're either in it or you're not at this stage. Lastly, the DAX. This one's already played out. This one had the ball hidden here, so we were looking for that to go and break the top, and it did. So again, you can't do anything until we get at least a nice correction in here before we can buy. H4, you could actually look for a sell. We have all this bearish divergence here, impulse down. So if you got a correction in here, you definitely could look for a sell. I'd be looking to sell down to the 50 fib of this whole move. This whole move here, I'd be looking to sell down to this 50 fib. And, you know, I'd be waiting for a correction in here, though. If you get a nice correction in there and a sell setup, I'd be looking for a sell. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.